So, we continue with our discussion on decision support in online environment. In this series, we have already seen about two different settings. In the first setting, we had the data source as our access log, which is collected from web transactions with the transaction of this HTTP, because of HTTP request and response it is generated, and how it is used for two specific decision support situations for modeling user behavior and for capacity planning we have seen. Then the next thing we saw about another data source, that is the user rating data generated either explicitly or collected implicitly, then item data and your user demographic data, and we saw that how these three data sources can be used for generating recommendation. So, in this recommender system we learned that we can we can actually provide decision support to the buyer, assistance to the buyer, just like we provide assistance, just like a salesman provides assistance to the customers in a store by suggesting different items. Okay. So, as if we remember our discussion on decision support system, in decision support system we learned decision support systems are of two types. One is model driven, second one is data driven. The last two type of decision support system, that is recommender system and the ones using that access log file, those were model driven decision support situations, data driven decision support situations. Today, not today, in this series of lectures we are going to learn about auctions, where we will see how exactly model driven decision support systems are implemented. Before we learn about auctions, which is basically a price discovery mechanism, we are in general going to talk about pricing and specifically dynamic pricing. Auction is a dynamic pricing mechanism to discover prices. So, in this lecture we are going to learn about the concept of a market and scope for dynamic pricing. Then we are going to learn about the e-commerce, how e-commerce is helping in taking dynamic pricing decisions and various dynamic pricing situations. Now, concept of market, pricing, auction, all these very much belong to economics domain, specifically your microeconomics. But because of recent because of the adoption of auctions more recently in an online environment has increased the interest of the e-business community, e-business or information systems community for knowing more about auctions and knowing how exactly those decision support modules can be implemented online. So, therefore, before we actually go for auctions, we are going to discuss little bit on pricing and all, and the basic concepts behind all this. So, what is a market? A market is a mechanism through which the buyer and the sellers interact to determine the prices and exchange of goods. Both goods and services. Now, these prices coordinate the decisions of the producers and the consumers. High prices tend to reduce consumer purchase and encourage production. Similarly, low prices encourage consumption and discourages production. And these prices are balance wheels of market mechanism. Now, how these prices are determined in a market? It is determined because of the market equilibrium. Now, what is market equilibrium? Market equilibrium comes at a price at which the quantity supplied is the quantity demanded. Okay, the market demand, that is overall demand by all individuals, change over the time. So, also the supply. So, if the price is determined because of the equilibrium of demand and supply, and if the supply and demand change over the time, the price has to change. However, traditional the prices are, this is what I was telling you, traditional the prices are fixed, but this is what I was telling you, keeping supply fixed. If the demand increases, so also the price. So, therefore, even if we understand that price is so dynamic, and from the market, from in a free market, depending on the demand and supply condition, the price has to be dynamic, people actually prefer for fixed pricing. In fact, nowadays people go for fixed pricing. This fixed, however, if we look at history, dynamic pricing, starting from your old the barter system, etc., it is a very oldest phenomena, and it ensures perfect, it is a result of perfect competition within the market. However, this fixed pricing is a very newer phenomena, probably some 100 years old. However, people go for this fixed pricing because of many reasons. It is convenient, it is easy to model, it is easy to implement, and using this you can have a plan to recover the cost of production. You can find out the break even point. And dynamic pricing is difficult because estimating the demand is not that easy. Theoretically, you can say that the price depends on demand and supply, but estimating the demand is extremely difficult. Then fixed price is also preferred because it decreases price uncertainty in the market and creates loyal customers, and it is also used many times as a market control mechanism. Many times the government, for example, the government can actually decide to control the market and decide the price. Otherwise, even if sometimes if the items are not available, the essential goods are not available, the price can become very high, which is prevented by regulations. In fact, there are many fixed pricing models. If you can read about them from your traditional marketing literature or from economics literature, they are very simple and they help to decide how to break even, how to extract money from the market, and so on. So, these can be markup price, where unit price is decided by unit cost divided by 1 minus markup that you decide. Then you have target return pricing, which is the unit cost plus your desired return into invested capital divided by unit sales, and so on. Similarly, it can be depending on it is not only these values, but depending on the other services that you provide and warranty, reliability, etc., you can charge even more. If you can provide better product, better quality product, at least you establish in the market that you provide quality products, then in that case you can have this value pricing, perceived value pricing. Then you can have going rate pricing, you can follow up your competitor and decide a price. However, if you look at these traditional fixed pricing methods, they are also not truly fixed. You provide volume discount after a fixed price MRP, sometimes you go for negotiation. If you buy many products together or multiple units together, I mean the many different kind of products together, then you get, sometimes you get even lower price. If there is any promotion, you get items at a lower price or get multiple items together with same price. So, therefore, traditional pricing in the true sense is also not fixed. But this e-commerce has really made it possible to ease the way the dynamic pricing was implemented. How it is done? Let us try to figure out. Here the buyers, both buyers and sellers, have many freedoms. What are they? The buyers can get instant price comparison, they can instantly search for the substitute in the market which fits their budget, because search has, they can easily go, it is not that physically they are going from one store to the other, virtually they can, sitting in front of a computer, they can go from one store to the other. The sellers can now monitor the user behavior and they can instantly tailor the customized prices. So, when the demand is, they sense the demand is more, they increase the price, when the demand is less, price can be decreased. Now, both of them I mean the sites can provide facilities where both the parties, these buyers and sellers, they can negotiate together in the form of auctions or exchanges. In summary, the internet has created a conducive environment for perfect competition, hence dynamic pricing is becoming a reality. Now, the transaction cost for implementing dynamic pricing has been reduced because of this information and communication technology. So, here it has it has eliminated the need for the people to be physically present in time and space to see a product in a particular store at a particular time to see the product. It has reduced the search cost, it has reduced the menu cost. By menu cost we mean see, traditionally in traditional fixed pricing setting, assuming that there is no internet, how the information was about the pricing was getting disseminated by brochures, where the details of the products and price is printed. Now, preparing these physical documents takes time, but if on the internet environment, if the demand is sensed, then price can be dynamically set through some computer program. So, therefore, changing this menu cost and informing the customers about the changed prices have become very easy. Then increased number of customers, competitors and increased amount of information leads to the price uncertainty and demand volatility in the market. So, in this environment, the companies are finding that using a fixed price is not efficient and effective. So, as a result, they are going for dynamic pricing. Now, what is dynamic pricing? Dynamic pricing is defined as the buying and selling of goods and services in a free market where the prices fluctuate in response to the changing supply and demand. It is also called flexible pricing or customized pricing. It includes two aspects, price dispersion and price differentiation. Let us individually see what are they. Coming to price dispersion, either you can have a spatial dispersion or you can have a temporal dispersion. By spatial dispersion we mean At the same time, for a given item, you can have different price offers from different sellers. Think about a air ticket. Air ticket in various sites will be shown at a particular time with different prices. It is possible. Similarly, a single seller can vary the price over the time after seeing the demand and seeing various environmental factors. For example, if the buyer observes that the price in a particular selling season, let us say during Diwali, you can sell more. So, it shows a lower price so that he can generate the same revenue if the sales volume is more. Then next dimension is price differentiation. Now, this differentiation can be of three types: first degree differentiation, second degree differentiation and third degree differentiation. In case of first degree differentiation, which is the result of perfect competition and perfect differentiation, you can, for the same product, the same product will value differently to different users. I mean, the users, the buyers will be competing among themselves and they can decide the market price. So, this is a example of perfect differentiation. It is about same product with different prices for different people. The exact maximum and consumer surplus from the maximum surplus from the market is extracted using such mechanisms, and auction is one such mechanism. The next one is your second degree differentiation. It is also a dynamic pricing way of the price can be made dynamic. Think of providing volume discount or providing utility prices depending on the usage. Here you adopt a non-linear pricing strategy. With different quantities you provide with different unit prices, but the rule is same for each individual. Whether I buy or you buy, everybody has to follow this rule. Only based on my type of purchase, amount I purchase, the price varies. The next one is your third degree differentiation, which is about group pricing. Think of providing different prices, I mean the offering by railways for different groups. For senior citizen one price, for students another price, and so on. So, similarly you can imagine that your telecom prices or certain other commodity prices are different for different settings. For business organization it is one setting, LPG cylinders; for business purposes it is one setting, one price, and for your regular consumers it is another price. Then this price differentiation can be based on one product and can be customized. So, here you can add you can make the price differentiation possible by adding or subtracting attributes. Just think of some kind of products which is customizable, like that of Dell computers. You can add more features or remove some of the features, and you are allowed to get a customized product with the price offering which suits your pocket. So, there are many dynamic pricing success stories in the online environment. For example, one of the very oldest example of this dynamic pricing after sensing depending on the demand and supply condition is your yield, the air ticket pricing. So, this particular stream is called yield management. You must have seen how frequently the air tickets price changes, and finally even it goes for auction. The last moment, if some seats are remaining vacant, it goes for auction. Similarly, that another example is your priceline.com, which where the negotiation with major airlines takes place to fill up the vacant seats with marginal revenue. Then your online auctions in eBay and reverse auctions, these are some of the success stories of dynamic pricing. There are some failure stories as well. For example, once upon a time, sometimes, I mean, the earlier days when this dynamic pricing was adopted by online community, Amazon tried selling its DVDs by sensing the demand. When the demand was high, it had some kind of algorithm, it decided a price and the CDs were sold at a high price. Next moment it was shown, the demand reduces and it was sold at a very low price. So, as a result, there was a lot of confusion in the market and there were a lot of customer complaints. So, Amazon finally removed that particular strategy. Then another failure story is the buy.com. So, this buy.com, what it was doing, it was actually taking the prices of its competitors, and it was taking the prices of its competitors and it was trying to offer a price which is lowest among all the available prices. So, as a result, sometimes the profit was becoming very low, and because of this strategy, the site actually generated negative profit and eventually they went out of the market, and this is one of the very early stories. Now, let us try to figure out under what condition this dynamic pricing will be successful. So, dynamic pricing there are few conditions under which the dynamic pricing will be successful. First of all, the customer must be heterogeneous in their willingness to pay. What do you mean by being heterogeneous in their willingness to pay? Say, if the railway is introducing, railway has this scheme that senior citizens, students and regular travelers, they will have different prices. Do you have any objection? No, because we understand that this category of people should get benefit, the students and this thing. So, we are actually heterogeneous in our willingness to pay. So, dynamic pricing is possible. Air ticket, even if the price varies, we are willing to buy because it is need based. Even if the price is high sometimes, because we need the ticket urgently, we buy. Then the market must be segmentable. Again, come back to your railway example. If the prices are offered, different prices are offered these to three groups. Why they are offered? Because you have three distinct segments which can have different prices. Okay. Then the third one is reselling at a higher price should be prohibited, which means if a student buys a railway ticket, he should not be going and selling, he has bought it at a cheaper price. He should not be going and selling it at a higher price. It should be prohibited. Or you are getting an airline ticket, you are booked your ticket very early and you have got a very good deal. It is not that after it is over, I mean when the prices are actually very high, you can sell it to somebody else. So, that should be prohibited. Now, the cost of segmentation and price differentiation must not exceed the revenue due to price customization. Here your ICT plays a role. When the price changes, say in case of airline ticket or in case of auction in eBay, when the price changes in the market, because it is online, you are immediately informed, and the cost of informing the concerned customers or individuals is not very high. Had it been very high, in the sense, let us say railway has to every time has to print some brochures and give it to its travelers, it would have been a very costly affairs. So, if the revenue generated is higher than the price of customization, higher than the cost of cost of price customization, then it is advantageous. Then customers should feel fairness in dynamic pricing. Again your railway example comes into picture. If senior citizens are getting advantages, we are not unhappy, because we know that it is fair to give it is fair to provide the ticket at a cheaper price to the senior citizens. Then dynamic pricing must be based on sophisticated mathematical models. So, there are many models for dynamic pricing. Your inventory based models, like that of your yield management, how much inventory is left with me. Here the inventory is your number of seats available. So, those yield management models, you can say they are inventory kind of model. There can be some data driven models, where the customers preferences, buying pattern, their etc. can be used, the demand can be sensed, so that market can be segmented and prices can be offered according to various settings. Then your auctions. Here the auctions are the models where the prices vary based on the market condition. Depending on the supply and demand condition, the prices vary. You can also have simulation models for dynamic pricing. So, these are some of the methods out of which now you are going to know more about the auctions. Thank you very much. Next class we will be talking on online auctions in general, then we will talk about online auctions. Thank you very much.